What is up, guys? It is Joe. We are back again, and today we're talking ball about the Cats, specifically both basketball and football, as the football team picks up a new name and basketball has someone new to monitor heading to Manhattan for an official visit. We're going to talk about all that and more, but before I do, let me tell you this. If you like the channel, if you like K-State Athletics, be sure and consider hitting that subscribe button. It does help me out a lot. A subscription does help me a ton, and it will also keep my videos on your feed as we get closer to that first kickoff against UT Martin. But guys, we're going to start with the football side of things today before we jump to basketball. In case you missed it, Kansas State, Chris Klieman and the boys signed a big name, an under-the-radar big name. That's the best way to say it. I think one person said it best, I forget off the top of my head, but interacting with a buddy of mine, Emal Caleb, basically interacted and said, this edition is so good, yet so under the radar. That is what Chris Klieman is. That is who Chris Klieman is. That's what Kansas State football has learned. They're a spot where they can get some of the big name guys. Your Avery Johnsons, your Lincoln Cures, your Dylan Edwards. You can churn out stars like DJ Giddens, Felix Anudike-Uzama. You can get guys to the NFL. You get guys to the league that are going to have successful careers. I mean, Cooper Beebe fits that conversation. There's 15 different players that come to mind. But on Friday, they added a new player at the defensive back position, a spot that has been addressed a little bit in the offseason. You've had a couple of guys join the safety room, but specifically for cornerbacks, it hasn't been touched yet. That all changed when they added Rice cornerback Jordan Dunbar today. Jordan Dunbar, a 2-year player at Rice, technically 3, but he did redshirt as a junior, so he's got more eligibility ahead. But the dude has an impressive track record. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's Rice, it's Conference USA, it is what it is. This dude is a stud, man. He fits that bigger body size DB that we need. A 6-foot tall guy, which no, the height isn't always the craziest thing, but 6 foot 190, the dude can absolutely fly. He's got a lot of great highlights out there and has put together some good, impressive seasons, including 54 tackles in the previous 2 seasons, as well as 17 pass breakups. The dude is always around the football, and he has that ability to shut down a top-tier receiver. He was an underrated guy, similar to where K-State's hit on in the past. He's a 2-star prospect coming out of high school in the class of 2020. He's now developed to a really solid addition for Kansas State. K-State was his only power offer in the transfer portal. Obviously, I think it was between us, Marshall, and somebody else, maybe in Eastern Washington or in Eastern Kentucky or something along those lines. Maybe it was East Carolina. I forget. It was one of the Eastern schools, and it is what it is. But the dude can absolutely play, and depending on how the staff views him, because it might be a little bit different than just the public perception, as it sits in my world, I think this is your 3rd starting cornerback type player. This is a guy that can go on an island. This is a guy that can go in the slot and do whatever you need. But it gives you at least 3 guys you're confident with their college experience in Keenan Garber, Jacob Parrish, and now Dunbar. You've got some really talented guys on the outside, as well as a couple of guys under the radar that can step into the fold. You know, Donovan McIntosh has gotten a ton of love. There's been a ton of different DBs on the roster that have really been hyped up this offseason, as well as at the safety position. That's kind of a position where I almost feel like we're the most deep at heading into the season. Maybe defensive line takes the cake on that one, but overall, a pretty damn good addition, if I do have to say so myself. Chris Klieman and the boys continue to hit it hard in the spring transfer portal window, but with the addition, the Cats have now added 5 players in the offseason transfer portal window for the springtime specifically. We know about Dylan Edwards. We know about Taquan Robertson, the quarterback. K-State added Alec Marenko, the UNM linebacker we talked about on the channel a little bit, and Wagner tight end / fullback. That's going to be a little bit of everything for what Kansas State needs. I think the boys have done a great job in the spring transfer portal, and Jordan Dunbar fits that category. He is an absolute stud, and I'm pumped to see him at Kansas State. So there's our first half of the video. Let me jump into basketball a little bit here. And also, I guess before I move on from football, let me tell you this. Guys, I bought my new Xbox the other day. I did it. I pulled the plug. I bought an Xbox Series S. Not the super expensive one because I'm still a college kid and trying to figure out how money works and all that stuff. And I just don't have a ton of it. But I did buy the Xbox Series S, so a couple $100 cheaper. Saved me a little bit of money out of pocket. And I have a next-gen console ready to roll for the release of EA Sports College Football 25. A game that I plan to stream on this channel, believe it or not. I might suck and you guys might laugh at me, but I tell you what, we're going to do it together. We're going to talk ball about the Cats in the comment section as I grind for different cards across the game or whatever content we need to make. Either way, I am pumped for that July 19th date to get here as soon as possible. I am ready for it, and we're going to try that out a little bit on the channel. If you're not a gamer and you hate the idea of me doing that, you don't have to watch. I'll still be making these videos every week, but I might just do something like every Saturday, hop on for an hour or 2, grind for a certain card, an ultimate team, or do a dynasty thing or something along those lines. Either way, it'll be about the Cats. And if you want to come check it out, I will definitely be answering some questions in the chat. So I still have to learn how to live stream, that is. I've done it in the past with different channels, but I want to try to do it again for you guys. But let me transition to basketball here. We've got some great news on the basketball court with a new visitor heading to Manhattan. It's someone we talked about. It's someone in the thumbnail. You see the guy himself, Kentucky big man transfer Ugonna Onyenso. The 7-foot, 247-pound center. He's from Nigeria originally, spent 2 previous seasons at Kentucky, and didn't play a ton, didn't have a ton of minutes, but we know the stats that he had posted. It's mostly defensive would be what I said. I mean, he was used more as a specialty type player. It wasn't a situation where, okay, hey, go get us 15 and 10 and we'll win this game. Kentucky has 5 one-and-dones every single season, so there's guys fighting for the position. Ugonna Onyenso went through the NBA draft process and withdrew at the deadline. He's officially penned his visit to Kansas State on Monday. It doesn't sound like UNC's in the picture from the guys I'm hearing it from a little bit, but overall, K-State is in a good position here. I'm not going to say it's wrapped up because I know nothing about this, but I do feel good about the recruitment. I think this pairing makes sense for both players. Ugonna Onyenso comes to a place where he'll have minutes, and he can be the guy on a team like this. However, he's not alone. He's not on an island, hey, if I don't get 20 and 10, we lose 15 games. It's not going to be that situation. You will have a damn good lineup that features Dug McDaniel, NBA dude. You'll have Achor Achor, NBA dude. You'll have Ugonna Onyenso, NBA dude. That satisfies my argument, but we're still hungry for more. K-State at the deadline has another scholarship available, and I expect them to go after a pretty solid wing. If they can get Arthur Kaluma back, I'd be over the moon about that, but I'm also not putting all my eggs into one basket. It's going to depend where K-State goes. It's going to depend where Arthur Kaluma wants to go, what the case is, money-wise, playtime-wise, whatever fits best for him, but he would be a great addition to have back. But specifically on Ugonna Onyenso, let me read you some stats, as well as the report from Joe Tipton of On3. Did a great job and basically said, hey, I'm also told that Kansas State and Jerome Tang are carrying all the momentum in the recruitment heading into the visit. K-State's done a good job in these recruitments where you get a kid on campus, you're with them all day, they commit at the end of the day. I'm not saying it's going to be like that. I'm not saying it's going to be that easy, but damn it, it'd be a good team. That'd be a great lineup to have. You think about this. Dug McDaniel at your 1. That's an incredible facilitator of the basketball. Ugonna Onyenso can catch lobs and throw them down like nobody's business. His selling point isn't necessarily the offensive end, but you look at his defensive numbers. The dude averaged the 4th most blocks in the country, and he played 18.4 minutes per game. That's crazy. His per 40 numbers would be number 1 in the country to be the best shot blocker in the league. That's awesome to see, and I think that could be a great thing for Kansas State, as well as adding some size in the Big 12. I mean, there's athletic bigs in the Big 12, but outside of Dickinson, now you have Norchad Omier with Baylor, who's not a big guy, but we know his ability. He averaged 17 and 10, so I mean, what are you going to do there? There's a couple of good bigs that have been in the Big 12, but if you get Ugonna Onyenso, you're making a case for one of the best bigs in the entire league. And if you're the best in the Big 12, my friend, you're going to the NBA. That being said, Kansas State is over the moon right now. The recruitment process is going well. And I hope that he makes that call to say, you know what? I'm a Wildcat. I'm here. Plus, Kentucky, K-State, Wildcat to Wildcat, you'd be just fine. But overall, that lineup could be very, very incredible. It depends on who you're going to start at the 3. That's going to be a point of contention for a couple of people. Dug McDaniel is my 1. I mean, that's not a question for anybody. Your 2 is likely going to be CJ Jones. Is there a possibility that David Castillo starts at the 2 and they slide CJ to 3? It's a possibility, but I think the staff wants to identify another 3 in the transfer portal. It's all positionless basketball, so I don't want to make it sound like you have to be this, or this, or you've done it in the past. But looking through it 1 through 5, Dug McDaniel, CJ Jones, portal guy, or maybe it's a Max Jones situation, or maybe it's David Castillo at the 2, slide CJ down to the 3. It could be Moby Ike Garuka if he stands up to whatever he could be. Obviously it's taking a risk on a JUCO guy, so I don't make it sound like that's a sure thing, but your 4 could be a Achor Achor. Obviously that's kind of the direction they want, and then get Ugonna Onyenso as your 5. That's a damn good lineup. However, you add Arthur Kaluma, you add Jameer Watkins, you add one of these scoring guys that can put the ball in the hoop at any minute. That is a top 10 team in the country. Let's be real about that. I know there's been some speculation of, well, K-State's missed out on a couple guys in the portal. This team's done this team's done this. That would be a hell of an addition, hell of a class for Jerome Tang. That'd be the best one during his time at Kansas State as he continues to step forward that trajectory of, hey, the NIL budget's going through, the team's getting better, things are getting better in recruiting, we're getting to different conversations, we're having 5-star McDonald's All-Americans commit to Kansas State or come to Kansas State. So as things continue to roll, I will keep you updated, but as of right now, folks, show as much love as humanly possible to Ugonna Onyenso on social media. Go toss anything purple you have in the comment section. Go see the kid when he posts, hey, my official photos from the visit, or whoever posts them. Absolutely toss every bit of support we can to that man because he would be a great addition. My last thought is this, because there's going to be this guy in the comment section. There always is. The dude that says, well, he's not much of an offensive threat. He hasn't done much in his career. Guys, he played 18 minutes, averaged 3 and 5. Give him a per 40 split. The kid's a pretty damn good big. Given the dependability that Kansas State will need out of him, the production that Kansas State will need out of him, he's got it. And for those of you that say, well, the kid hasn't shot a ton of threes, he hasn't done much in that from the outside, first of all, he wasn't asked to do that. Go watch the recent video he posted on social media. He's got a Giannis Antetokounmpo-like three-point shot, which maybe that's not the sexiest thing to hear, but he's got a good, solid, serviceable three-point shot and can absolutely stretch the floor when needed. However, his athleticism and his length is going to be the difference maker. The kid has a massive, massive wingspan. To put that specifically into words, Adam Finkelstein, the director of scouting for 247, or one of them, I should say, this is what he had to write up about our guy, Ugonna Onyenso, the potential cat, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. He said, a 7-footer with 7'5" wingspan. He not only has game-changing size and length, but also terrific defensive instincts. He was one of the most dominant shot blockers in all of prep school basketball last year after arriving at Putnam Science Academy for the second semester. While his defense is currently ahead of his offense, he has soft natural touch to develop and is both a lob threat and a rim runner who changes ends particularly well for a player of his size. Get him to the Cats, get him a purple jersey, let's roll, boys. Get him a lavender jersey, we're ready to go. Coming out of high school, out of Putnam Science Academy in the class of 2022, the Nigerian native was listed as a 4-star player by the 247 Sports Index, as well as the 36th ranked player in the country, the 9th ranked player at his position, and the number 1 player in the state of Connecticut. Bring him home to Kansas. Bring him to Manhattan, Kansas, and we will be over the moon excited as that lineup continues to take a step forward. But guys, that's all for today's video. Just wanted to get this update out there, talk a little bit about football, talk a little basketball for you as we continue to step forward. The room behind me is still pretty green. Still learning to set up the studio. I'm going to print out a poster here, a K-State poster there, and have some little knickknacks up there. So soon enough, there will be purple behind me. I promise you of that. But guys, I appreciate all the love in the channel. I hope you all continue to do well, and I will talk to you soon. Go Cats!